My name is Nicole, and I'm 34 years old. I work as the head stylist at a hair salon managed by my husband, Michael, who is 3 years older than me. We met through a mutual friend, and I was drawn to his kind and friendly personality. We got married 4 years ago. Michael's mother, Victoria, raised him on her own after divorcing when he was in junior high school. She's proud of that, but she also believes she has the final say in all his decisions. When we got married, Victoria took control of everything, made decisions about the wedding, honeymoon, our house, and even the interior design. I had my own ideas for these things, but every time I shared them, she shut them down. If Michael tried to support me, she would guilt him, saying things like, "Are you really going to defy your mother? I'm doing this for you." She even insulted my parents, saying things like, "I wonder how you were even raised." Her behavior worried me, and my parents suggested I think carefully before marrying into the family. But Michael apologized sincerely and promised to always stand by me, no matter what conflicts arose with his mother. His honesty and determination convinced me to go ahead with the marriage. In the end, though, the wedding and house were all done according to Victoria's wishes, my mom advised me to let it go, saying, "Sometimes you need to lose a little now to win in the long run." So I went along with it, hoping things would improve. Now, 4 years later, I deeply regret that decision. "Michael, can we talk about work?" I said one evening. "I'm busy tonight. I have a junior chamber meeting," he replied. "Last night, you had a shopping district meeting. The week before, it was dinners and parties every night. When will we have time to sit down and talk?" "Nicole, these events are part of my work. You wouldn't understand what it takes to be an entrepreneur's wife if you're complaining about this." "I'm not complaining," I said, frustrated, "but we have 3 stores now, and it's important to discuss how we manage them together." Michael sighed and said, "Nicole, I leave everything about the stores to you. Honestly, your only good quality is your skill as a hairdresser. With no education or notable family background, it's natural for you to focus on increasing sales for the stores, right? So why are you trying to rely on me? Isn't that strange?" This hurt me deeply. 4 years ago, we started our hair salon business from scratch. Now, we've successfully opened our 3rd store and are thinking about opening a 4th by the end of the year. It's a big achievement, but as the business grows and Michael is praised as a young entrepreneur, he started treating me with less respect. He constantly puts me down, criticizing my education, my looks, and even my fashion sense. He compares me to other stylists, always finding ways to make me feel small. I can't deal with comments about my education, but his constant belittling is wearing me down. When I don't finish a task he assigns or don't reply to his messages immediately, he starts ignoring me. During these silent treatments, he comes home late, leaves the meals I cook untouched, and makes a show of ordering takeout or buying food from convenience stores. He spends more time at his mother's apartment, just a floor away from ours. Sometimes, he even takes baths there. At first, I didn't know how to fix things. I was afraid not preparing his meals or leaving the bath unready would make him angrier. So I kept doing them, even though I knew it was pointless. I stayed up late waiting for him, not knowing when or if he'd come home. Meanwhile, his mother added to my misery with her cruel remarks. "I knew you worry about wife, but this is worse than I imagined." When I asked her why Michael was upset, she would laugh and say things like, "If you don't know why, there's no point in me telling you." I felt trapped, trying to figure out what I had done wrong. Just when I'd be on the verge of losing my patience, Michael would suddenly come back acting like nothing had happened. I'm hungry. What's for dinner?" he said casually. In those moments, I felt relieved and thought things would get better, but deep down, I was scared of being ignored again. Without realizing it, I started living my life trying to please him, constantly checking his mood and doing everything I could to avoid another silent treatment. I didn't realize what was happening until Rebecca, a new stylist who joined our team this spring, pointed it out to me. That day, Michael was ignoring me again, refusing to eat the meals I prepared and not speaking to me at all. not wanting to let the food go to waste. I packed the leftover side dishes into a lunchbox and brought it to work for lunch. As I was eating, Rebecca approached me. "Nicole, is that lunchbox homemade?" she asked. "Yeah," I replied. "I just packed some leftovers from yesterday." Rebecca hesitated for a moment before speaking. "I know this is a private matter, and as a newcomer, I probably shouldn't interface, but have you realized that President Michael is trying to control you?" "Control me?" I asked, confused. "What do you mean?" "I'm sorry if I'm wrong," Rebecca said gently, "but isn't Michael ignoring you right now?" "Yes," I admitted, "he is." "I thought so," she said. "I noticed him chatting and smiling with everyone else, but in the staff room, he completely ignored you. I'd even saw him brush your hand away rudely when you tried to get his attention. And that lunchbox, grilled mackerel and meat and potatoes, it's clear you just packed up last night's leftovers. It's so different from the colorful, well-balanced lunchboxes you usually bring." Her words hit me hard. Rebecca continued, "Actually, my mom went through something similar before she divorced my biological father. He used to ignore her, just like Michael is doing to you. At first, it started small little things, but then it became constant. He completely shut her out. My mom cried a lot, and eventually, she started doing everything just to please him. Her smile became sad and submissive. It was really painful to watch." Rebecca looked at me with concern. "Nicole, I think Michael is ignoring you on purpose to control you. He wants to make you anxious and keep himself in a position of power. He probably enjoys seeing you struggle to please him. Think about it normally. If your partner saw you worried or hurt, they'd feel bad about it and want to make things right. But Michael doesn't. That's not okay." Rebecca's blunt words stuck with me. People like Michael actually enjoy seeing their partner worried and insecure. They're twisted. After hearing that, I started to feel less panicked whenever Michael ignored me or my mother-in-law provoked me. Instead of blaming myself, I began to notice how childish and selfish Michael was and how malicious my mother-in-law could be. She never even tried to stop him, but it seemed they didn't like my change in attitude. Michael and my mother-in-law began ignoring me even more, turning their silent treatment into a daily habit. Michael barely came home, and when he did, he locked himself in his room. He also stopped showing up at the store or the company, leaving me to manage everything on my own. One day, after this had gone on for a while, I decided to use my day off to deep clean the house. The weather was nice, so instead of relying on the Roomba and Brava like I usually did, I put on my favorite music and started cleaning every corner myself. As I was wiping the windows, I heard the sound of the door unlocking. Michael and my mother-in-law entered the house quietly and sat down on the living room sofa without saying a word. "Oh, since they're here, I'll make some tea," I thought and hurried to prepare it. But just as I entered the room with the tea, I overheard my mother-in-law say, "Such an inconsiderate wife." Michael replied with a smirk, "Really, but maybe we can't say goodbye to this kind of wife soon." As I reluctantly made tea and placed it on the table, Michael and his mother dropped a bombshell. "You see, Michael has a child now, so you should leave this apartment in 2 weeks," my mother-in-law said casually. "Oh, and quit your job too? No severance pay, of course." I frowned, trying to understand. Michael has a child. My mind raced. Does that mean he's been cheating? And now I have to leave. I'm losing my job too. They continued as if it was no big deal. "The next wife is totally different from you," his mother added smugly. "Her family is rich. She graduated from a top women's college, and she trained in Paris. You can't compete with her. Just give up already." Michael chimed in, grinning. "She's 3 months pregnant. I want to make her feel secure as my wife quickly. It's exciting. A wonderful child is on the way." I blinked. If she's 3 months pregnant, doesn't that mean this baby is from your affair? Michael shrugged. "So, Emily and I just met in the wrong order. That's all. We're connected by fate." "You're saying I should leave, so you can't marry your so-called soulmate?" "Exactly." His smirk widened. "You're really slow to catch on." "They're cheerful. uncaring attitude gave me a splitting headache. I needed time to think, so I told them to leave. Sure, take your time, they said mockingly as they headed to my mother-in-law's room. Once they left, I couldn't continue cleaning. I sat there on the floor, numb, trying to process everything. My thoughts were interrupted by my phone lighting up. It was Rebecca, a coworker. Nicole, where are you right now? She asked. At home, I replied faintly. I'm coming over, she said and hung up. About 30 minutes later, Rebecca arrived, her arms full of bags. Sorry for barging in. I brought food and drinks, she said cheerfully. She washed her hands, set the food on the table, and poured us both a glass of her favorite craft beer. Let's eat before it gets cold, she said, handing me a spoon. I took a bite of the fluffy omelette rice she had brought, and the delicious flavor filled my mouth. Isn't it amazing? This place makes the best omelette rice, Rebecca said with a smile. I realized I hadn't eaten much all day, and as I started to eat, my hunger hit me. For the first time all day, I felt something relief. We ate quietly for a while. Then Rebecca brought up an email from the store manager. I heard you are leaving the store at the end of the month. Is that true? I nodded and explained everything: Michael's affair, the divorce, and how I was being forced to quit. Rebecca listened silently, then looked straight at me. What do you want to do, Nicole? She asked firmly. What I want, I echoed, confused. Yes, not what they're telling you to do. It's your life. You decide how to steer it. Her words made something click. For the first time, I felt clear-headed. I want a divorce, I said firmly. There's no reason to stay with Michael or his family. I want to start over. Once I made the decision, everything started falling into place. Michael had given me a 10-day deadline, but I was ready to take action right away. I didn't have many personal belongings, so packing was quick. I used the boxes provided by the moving company and organized everything efficiently. I asked Rebecca to handle my belongings at the salon because I didn't want to see Michael until the situation was resolved. At the same time, I hired a lawyer recommended by a friend to prepare a demand for alimony and property division from Michael. After viewing a few places, I signed a lease for an apartment I liked. Once I moved in, my lawyer sent the formal demands to Michael and his mother. Almost immediately after the letter arrived, I received a flood of messages from them, so I suggested meeting at the lawyer's office. On the day of the meeting, Michael, his mother, and the young woman arrived, all smiling confidently. The lawyer asked who the woman was, and Michael's mother answered proudly, "This is Emily, Michael's future wife. As soon as you file the divorce papers, they'll register their marriage." They seemed pleased with themselves, but I stayed calm. When asked if they agreed to my demands, they responded smugly, "Sure, think of it as severance pay. Michael is kind enough to give you money, since you'll be living a lonely life from now on." They handed over the exact amount I requested in cash, neatly sealed in a bank envelope. I signed and stamped the divorce papers, handed them over, and said calmly, "I doubt we'll ever meet again, but just so it's clear, I will never help you, no matter what happens." Michael's mother scoffed. "Oh, is that your final dramatic remark? Okay." They left the office laughing. Now, I'm working as the top stylist at a city center salon, where my previous awards and recognition helped me land a position quickly. I haven't needed to touch the alimony or property settlement money. Life feels free and relaxed, and I've even started dating someone I met during a joint training session with another salon. Rebecca, my supportive friend, stayed at Michael's salon for a while after I left. I convinced her not to quit right away to avoid giving the impression she wasn't committed or patient. I was also worried Michael and his mother might target her if they realized we were still close. But Rebecca eventually left, sharing stories of the chaos that unfolded after I left. Apparently, Emily joined the salon soon after my departure, strutting in as the new top stylist and field manager. With Michael by her side, however, her pride didn't last even a day. One of the male staff members, who had been a junior stylist under me, recognized her immediately as a former classmate. With a smirk, he said, "Wow, Emily, You claim to have trained in Paris, but I remember you struggling in school. You couldn't even pass the written tests and kept repeating years. How did you end up in Paris? Emily, flustered and defensive, stammered. That's not true. Don't make things up. Rebecca said the whole salon watched the drama unfold, and Emily's grand debut ended in embarrassment. You'd need a French hairdresser's license to work in Paris, right? When did you become fluent in French? Of course, I studied at university, Emily replied confidently. University? Oh, the male stylist said with a smirk. Is this the same Emily who didn't understand basic English in our elective French conversation classes at beauty school? With that, Emily's lies fell apart. She was completely exposed. Not long after, a loud argument broke out between Emily, Michael, and Michael's mother, who had rushed to the salon in a panic. The fight got so intense that the police had to be called to calm things down. The chaos took its toll on the business. Staff members started quitting one by one, and the salon's atmosphere completely changed. Customers stopped coming, and the business quickly started to fail. They tried to salvage things by closing 2 of their stores and focusing on the original location, but it was too late. Last month, the entire salon chain shut down for good. That must have been rough, Rebecca said, shaking her head. It really was, I replied, but because the closure was due to company circumstances, my interviews here went smoothly. No one questioned my previous job experience. I'm so happy we're working together again, Rebecca said. Why did you choose this salon? I asked, curious. Of course, it's to learn from Nicole's skills up close, she replied with a grin. Got it. I'll make sure to train you properly, I said with a smile. Sometime after Rebecca changed jobs, I received a letter from Michael and his mother through the lawyer who had handled my divorce, since I had cut off all contact with them, and my parents firmly refused to engage. This was likely their last resort. The letter was long and dramatic. They claimed they had been deceived by Emily. She wasn't pregnant, and her entire background was a web of lies. Apparently, she had taken all of their valuables and disappeared shortly after. They lost the salon and their apartment, which had been used as collateral. Michael wrote, Nicole, you are the only hope for me and my mother. I believe in your kindness and know you will help us in our time of need. We want to hear from you as soon as possible. After skimming the letter, I called the lawyer who had forwarded it to me. Please just tell them I don't care, I said firmly. You don't need to pass on any more messages from them. And with that, I closed that chapter for good. Just as Rebecca had said, my life is moving in the direction I want. Things are going great, and I vowed to never let another man control my destiny.